I'm Bonnie White, and I want to take a few minutes and talk to you about Canyon Ranch. I have sent you out, some of you received this card about our trip in March, and some of you have received our newsletters, which again talked about our trip March 8th through the 12th. For those of you who know me, you've probably heard this story before, but I went to Canyon Ranch for the first time about 6 years ago, and it was given to me as a gift. And of course, at that time, I had never been before. I'd certainly heard about Canyon Ranch. Who hasn't? But I received it as a gift, and I thought, and it was for my husband. It was for birthday, and I thought to myself, what part of this does he think I'm going to like? I don't exercise. I don't like exercise. When I go to dinner, I would like to have a glass of wine. They don't serve any alcohol there. When I go on vacation, I certainly don't want to get up and God knows the crack of dawn and do things. I want to sleep until I wake up. It was everything opposite of what I thought I was about. So I went reluctantly. Can you imagine being given this gift of Canyon Ranch and then going reluctantly to it? So I did. I went reluctantly to it. And of course I went, I'm a business person, so I was dressed in my business attire. And I had brought with me all the material they had sent me from Canyon Ranch. And what you do is you get, obviously, information about the ranch, and you get this little guide, which is This Week at Canyon Ranch. And if you open it up, it shows you all of the different activities you can participate in during your week there. Well, being an A-type personality, I'm going, oh my God, how am I going to do all this stuff? And, I panicked at first, and so I got there, and they introduce you to a counselor who helps take you through your day or your week at Canyon Ranch and helps you figure out what you want to focus on while you're there. And so when I met my counselor, she said, what do you want to focus in on? And of course, me, like every other woman in the world, it's always, I want to get healthier, and I want to control my weight, and the normal everyday things. And she said, great, what do you like to do? And I said, nothing. And nothing. I hadn't really thought about much about exercise or what I would and wouldn't enjoy doing while I was there. So she said, why don't you take it easy and do, just test some things that you really could get interested in. So she said, do you like to walk? Well, yeah, I like to walk. Everybody likes to walk. So I thought, okay, well, I'm not going to do that 7 o'clock in the morning walk. That would be nuts. And they have one in the afternoon. I'll do the afternoon walk, and then I'll do the stretching exercises, and then, I even took a breathing exercise class, which I thought was kind of silly at the time, but since then I have really studied a lot of breathing exercises through my yoga practice and realized I didn't do it right the first time I did it anyway. So we went through some of the things, and she said, do like a smorgasbord. Try a little of this, there's one called Get on the Ball, do the walking, do some of the stretching, do the things that you would think you would enjoy as opposed to that you had to do. Well, after about the first or second day, as I'm starting to get into it, and remember, this is my first time, not only is the resort in Tucson breathtakingly beautiful that you want to spend every minute outside. The classes are inside, but that's okay because that's for an hour. I noticed these people getting up in the morning, and I thought, well, where are they going? So after a couple of days, I thought, well, I want to also see what they're doing. So I got up and I did that morning walk at 7, which I didn't like it. I adored it. It was fabulous. It was quiet. It was beautiful. The people with me, you just talk to them. So that started the whole process that no, I wasn't going to miss a morning without there. By the second or third day, and they tell you not to do this. I'm signing up for every class I can possibly think of because they weren't just exercise. They were really, really fun to do. And the part that really I didn't expect this was the lectures they have at the ranch were so eye-opening and yet so appealing to just average people, but at the same time it stretched my imagination and made me think about other things or part of my life that I hadn't really thought that much about. So I loved every lecture that I went to. I even decided that, because I had heard from a lot of my clients how great the hike was. I'd never been on a hike, so I signed up for a hike. And I went on a hike, my first hike ever in my whole life. Remember, this is 6 years ago. And I was going up there, and halfway through I thought, I have lost my mind. Why am I doing this? And yet when I made it to the top with the rest of the group, I happened to stay with the group, made it to the top of the group, I was so proud of myself. And you know, I do a lot of things every day in my daily life, but you know, you don't stretch yourself so much. So it was something I thought, I did something I never thought I could do. One, not only did I do it, I enjoyed it. And then I came down and I was so excited. I called my husband right away, and he wanted to know if they had to air vacuum me out of the canyon, or I came down by myself. But I did come down by myself. The only problem I had on my very first trip to Canyon Ranch is I didn't want it to end. I truly didn't want it to end. For those 4 or 5 days you go, you somehow get off this world and you focus in on just yourself, and that's not a bad thing to do. It's a gift you give yourself that it's irreplaceable. It's beyond any monetary gift you can get. So that was my very first year. Now I got off that airplane, just so you know. Remember, I went dressed as a businesswoman. I got off that airplane in a Canyon Ranch jacket and a Canyon Ranch hat. I had my walking shoes on, and I went directly to the gym because I had to get a tape so that I could walk and listen to music at the same time. I had to get those tubes because I enjoyed doing that. I had to get a ball because I found out I liked that too. And I found out things about myself that I really liked. That, again, 6 years ago. I have been back every year since then, and I've been able and fortunate enough to take some clients with me because they offer us such a wonderful opportunity and give us such a great price to be able to go. I wouldn't miss this for the world. Not only, one, do I make sure I go to that 7 o'clock walk every morning, but I make a point every year of saying I'm going to do something I've never done before. I'm going to try one more thing I've never done before. I found out that I really do like some forms of exercise. Not all of them are for me, but some forms I really like. The food is fabulous, well, of course, but every part of that experience for me has been absolutely rejuvenating. I feel, you know, they have this one course called Taking Canyon Ranch Home With You at the end of your stay. And like they say, that usually lasts 3 to 4 months. And it does. I mean, you're there, you're definitely going to do everything. But the most important thing is some part of it always sticks with you. So not only is it good for yourself, it's fun. I mean, we have a great time, and even though we go as a group, you do as much as you want or as little as you want, and they tell you that. You know, I go up there and I fill out the whole thing before on the airplane because I want to do this, this, and this, and I always end my day with this fabulous massage or some kind of treatment that I treat myself to at 8 or 9 o'clock at night, which makes me feel like $1 million. But we just absolutely, at the end of that trip, and of course we never want to go home, but you have to. The end of the trip, we're always planning for next year's trip, so I want to invite you. There is no doubt in my mind, I know you've heard about it, and some of you have already been there, but of all the times to do something for yourself now, it's in this kind of world we live in right now, where you really need to de-stress, take a little time, and give it back to yourself. You deserve it. Come to Canyon Ranch with me. Thanks. Bye.